Solo queue. No, nobody ever watches the minimap.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting into game number 1 of this best of 3 series. This will be between Well Met and Barely Online, taking place on the Cursed Hollow.
Yeah, the Cursed Hollow, it's a map where you collect some tributes. If you have 3 of them, you curse your enemies, and your enemies will suffer the following curse. Their forts and keeps and towers will not attack. Their minions are reduced to 1 hit point. And that allows for some really good pushing. And we have seen the Cursed Hollow being a map where, well, if you get the first tribute, usually you start winning. But I believe that Alternate yesterday did not manage to actually win off the back of the first tribute.
I believe so. There were a lot of games yesterday. I've probably forgotten
So many turnabouts.
something from them. So, well, it was the same tournament, but there's just so much going on.
No, turnabouts.
Oh, turnabouts, but you said tournaments, and I was like, true, but it was the same one.
Yeah, of course, but there were too many
turnarounds. It was only turnarounds. Those games were all turnarounds.
Yeah, but then again, that's what the anti-snowball mechanic of Blizzard Heroes allows you to
goes to show you that it is a thing. You just because you are 2 to 3 levels behind, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't mean you should give up people in solo queue. Hint, hint. Wink, wink.
Yeah, just completely get ready, and we have music.
Yay!
That is hopefully not as loud as you.
We will find out. I think I've actually got my game setting sound to a perfect setting for once. So, Techno, would you like to introduce the blue team?
It's Barely Online with Sheep on Rainer, Cripple Pete playing on Nazebo. No, that's not Nazebo, that's a Vala. Rasmussen playing on Chen, Destin playing on Uther, and Saka playing on the Tyrael.
And on the right-hand side, in the red trunks, we have Well Met. Starting in the top lane, we have Hiruke on the Bright Wing. We have Hasuobs on the Felstad. We have Soke on the Anubarak. We have Nomi on the Arthas. And we have Hystercia on the Sergeant Hammer. And we have the SK brush coming out from Barely Online.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fix the sound levels just a little bit.
Yeah, my sound broke again as well.
Yeah, but fortunately I fixed it by just using the Windows soundbar.
Yeah, I'm using the in-game one to try and adjust it.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, the SK brush has failed. So we are seeing Barely Online. We're getting to move into lanes. They do not, however, have anyone in top lane. Soke almost catching out Destin here. Actually, Soke venturing a bit too far. Is taking tower damage. And he gets taken down straight away by Sheep. Soke, what are you doing? Hystercia was able to kill off some minions there, but that is catastrophic for Well Met there. They were looking really good, having a bit of an XP lead in this top lane, thanks to Rasmussen taking a bit longer to get into lane, but they gave that all away by giving away that first blood.
Yeah, and that's just the power of those turrets. At the early levels, before level 5, you cannot afford to take even 1 tower shot. It's just too much damage. And now already, they're forcing Destin away. Destin getting rooted here. He's trying to get actually turning it around with the Soke again.
Wow, Soke is getting bullied. This seems unfair. This seems like the thing that primary schools would campaign against. However, Hiruke in the top lane is just clearing it up, but Rasmussen did a great job of pushing this lane and is draining a lot of tower ammo with these minions and his own personal shield. Whereas the mid lane, Saka doing almost exactly the same thing, doing a very good job of pushing, but he is about to get ganked. There is the root from Nomi. Soke is here as well with the knockup. Hasuobs is late down the damage. There is the Elbow in Smite. Angelic Flash from Saka. He's able to mount up, but Soke is right on his heels, but Soke was not mounted, and Saka is actually going to be able to escape.
Very well done, and my apologies, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a little bit of a graphical glitch. I'm fixing the sound as we speak because I didn't quite hear you during the battle that turn. That's not good.
Okay, yeah, the sound is broken. We will try and work around it soon. Sound and graphics are broken. I actually added some more hardware to my PC, and that now I get graphical glitches every now and again. But it only seems to happen in solo, not in replays. Currently in the battles in the bot lane, we can see, well, we're seeing Barely Online kind of dominating this bot lane. Hystercia is doing his best job, the best job he can to defend the bot lane, just clearing out the minion waves. But Barely Online doing a great job of pushing. They've taken out most of the tower ammo and done huge amounts of damage to these defensive structures. But first tribute spawning in Barely Online, spawning in the center of the map. Barely Online have 3 members near it. Well Met have 3 members near it, but Hystercia already quite low on health. Nomi is on his own here, but here is Soke. Hasselhoff's ready to join in. Saka is here as well. Jen is making his way down. Brightwing's staying up because, well, she can teleport.
Yeah, now Saka's getting engaged upon. He's trying to turn it around straight onto Nomi. Brightwing coming in a little bit too late to save Nomi, but that means that Nomi has already gone down. Fortunately, though, for them, they force away the team of Barely Online. And, well, Matt now trying to get a little bit of tribute. But look at the range here on Sergeant Hammer. This is really good for those tributes. But here's the Alien Smite, Angelic Flash, straight into Hysteria. Rasmussen, he's jumping in. He might be able to take down the Sturrica. Hasselhoff's also very, very low. And now, Barely Online, slowly but surely gaining control. However, they took a little bit too long, allowing Wellmet's Artist to come back into the fight. Here's the jump.
Yep, here comes the jump. Soke is able to burrow out. Nomi is in the back, though. Takes down Sheep. He's now chasing on to Destin. Cripplepete was able to grab the tribute in the background while this was going on. Destin is going to die to Arthas here. And that is a 2-for-1 trade. Saka able to escape, stopping it from becoming a 3-for-1. And Wellmet do win the fight, but they lose the tribute.
I'm hoping that the overlay is now working again, because we had a little bit of issues, but looks like everything is fine. Perfect.
Hooray. And now we can see the advantage of Wellmet's comp being shown off dramatically.
Oh, the lane, Saka! Saka actually...
Nope,
so close.
He's fine. But we can see what Wellmet are doing here. With the Falstad, they were able to immediately fly back up to that top plane, get those minions, and now they are ever so slightly ahead in XP because Ramison was not able to get to lane in time, having to ride on his horse in time to soak all of the minions. He did lose a couple to the tower. Gonna kick in onto Hasselhoff, though. He did have his root, but Hasselhoff is going to be able to dash out. He does not have his fountain up yet, so he's going to have to be, and he will have fly up, though, in time to arrive back at this fight. In fact, he already has it up. So he's going to be flying in here to join his teammates, trying to take this second tribute.
Oh, look at Saka doing damage to Soccer. This is also an interesting one with two of the similar sounding players here.
Yeah, Saka and Soke.
Nomi forced away from the tribute, and it looks like Barely Online trying to get it, but a beautiful ice blast by Nomi. Very well done. Hammerang
does not land from Hasselhoff, though, so Barely Online do grab the tribute again. They are still behind barely in levels. This does mean that if the next tribute spawns soon, then Well Met are going to be level 10 for that tribute fight, where Barely Online, they might not be if the tribute spawns in the next minute or so. So this is going to be Wellmet's chance to bring it back, gain control of the game, and just snowball from there and start grabbing those tributes left, right, and centre. Hasselhoff's dashing up, though. He's going to get engaged upon by Cripplepete and Ramson. He's already used the root, and he's able to once again back behind his towers. Hasselhoff's playing very, very well here, despite the multiple gank attempts on his life.
On the other hand, you were talking about how they could fight over the next tribute if it were to spawn right now. Barely Online, even if they lose one tribute right now, they are not really in such a bad position. Their opponents only have 0 tributes, and actually in the middle lane, Saka is trying to run, gets rooted again. There's the knock-up. Hasselhoff's actually flying in for the kill.
Eventually they killed him. Was that the third time? They've almost killed him, but they did kill him this time. And both teams are now level 10. Ultimates are ready. So, Ultimates are almost ready. There we go. Valor hadn't actually picked hers yet, but now she has it. So now, the fight over the tribute is going to be a bit more even, other than the fact that Barely Online are down a member, but we will see Tyrael being up, but they're not even going to try and contest this due to the fact that Tyrael was so far away.
Yeah, so finally a tribute going over to Elmet, at least keeping them somewhat in the tribute game. Because the worst thing that can happen is that your opponents get a full hand in, and you have 0 tributes. Because at that point, the next tribute, you're going to start out even. Whereas if you are able to at least get 2 of those tributes, you might be able to mount a counter-offensive. And speaking of a counter-offensive, looks like, well, Matt is going to be saying, well, Matt, to the Golem here in the top lane, going to allow them to get a little bit more pressure on the map.
Yep, well, Met grabbing that Golem very quickly, third tribute time. We can also see Barely Online, though, doing exactly the same. They have already grabbed their Bruiser camps and are going for their Golem, whereas Well Met's Bruiser camp was on cooldown. So this mid lane is going to be pushed, and Well Met are going to have to defend against it, rather than Barely Online, who are going to be pushing both bot and mid lane. And all they have to really do is maybe make their way to top lane to defend, but doesn't know they're going to bother due to the fact the tribute has spawned right next to them.
Yeah, this is a very good position for the team of Barely Online. Panda Bear still in the top lane. Ramazan doesn't seem like he's going to get into position here. Hasselhoff with the hammering. It does land. There's the Radiant Vengeance coming out, just trying to force them away from the tribute area. It looks like it's going to be successful. Yes, it is destined. And here is the tribute. Oh, this is right on time as the Grave Golem is on the towers. But now they're going to try and chase down Barely Online. Barely Online running straight back to the base. They don't have any towers here. But eventually it's Well Met who's going to be dealing with this Grave Golem. Not before losing a fort.
Yep, this is going to be a fort for a fort. Both teams losing a fort to the enemy Grave Golem. And now Well Met, their biggest problem is in this mid lane, where the Bruiser camp is still got quite a lot of health, but with now Barely Online is there too, so they're actually in a lot of danger in this mid lane. They need to react to this. Hasselhoff is first on the scene, in fact, so dashing over the wall, and here we go. Well Met coming in. The root does miss. Knock-up hits onto Ramazan, and they're looking for an engage here, but they are in trouble. The fort will go down if they're not careful. They're finally pushing their way forward a bit to try and gain some control back, but this fort is pretty low. It will go down very quickly if they're not careful, and Barely Online might actually be looking for a fight of their own here. Well Met still ahead in levels.
Yeah, but Barely Online is actually now engaging onto Hirake. Saka actually forced to jump straight out of there. Immediately, now they're turning their attention to Saki. Beautiful shock and awe. It hit 3 members. Now immediately, Rasmussen has popped his ultimate. Is going to be jumping straight to Nomi. Nomi in a lot of trouble. He might be going down here, but he has his army to death. Will be surviving this one. In the background, Vala going down to a lot of damage there. He gets his passive procced. Now, both of them going to try and retreat. It's a 3-for-1. However, they did lose a fort. Rasmussen makes it a 4-for-1.
Yep, trying to micro his way out of that with using his brew, but not able to get enough of a shield and not able to time it right to dodge the arcane barrage. And now Hysterica is going to start wailing on this mid lane, and they need to get some counter damage done because Well Met, despite the curse and despite losing 2 forts, have still managed to come out ahead in XP.
And this is a result, of course, of their well, they've been ahead for quite a while, and they picked up so many hero kills. Those also add up to the fact that they are that they are still ahead. They're going to be hitting level 16 soon, which will allow them to gain their final talent. But it looks like their opponents, Barely Online, they're not really willing to give up just yet.
Yep, Barely Online, they've done a very good job. All those levels on the side of Well Met mean nothing if they keep losing buildings like this without able to deal the counter damage. Only 1 fort down for Barely Online. The mid one is completely exposed though.
They have one, yeah, and the bottom one actually is in the same position, so there's not... Yeah, so Barely Online, if they lose a fight, they're going to lose 2 forts in a row. That's just what's going to happen. They're already going to be forced to deal with the siege giant camp that's heading into the bottom lane, and now just a slow poking by the team of
the war of attrition. The base of Barely Online is currently under siege. Hysterica doing a great job of just laying waste to this from afar. Barely Online looking like they want to fight, just harassing and poking from afar. And this fort will finally go down, and that does even up the fort count. The fort count very well played by Well Met.
Yeah, but it's also Barely Online is like, okay, we want to go in, and they don't go in. And because they hesitate, because they don't fight, while they were in a decent position to just all-in engage on someone, it just, here's the Eloin's Might, straight into the team fight. There's the polymorph onto Saka, and he doesn't even get his judgment off, and immediately the fight continues in favor of Well Met. Rasmussen is going to be popping his ultimate. He's going to get a little bit of additional hit points. In the background, Nomi is forcing away Cripple Pete and Destin, but look at Sake with a beautiful long-range dash. Knocks up one of the, knocks up Destin, and immediately it is Well Met who's in a perfect position to take both the Bruiser camp with the double bribe comp and the tribute that has just spawned.
Exactly, and this is exactly what we were talking about, Techno, where we saw the 2 members, the Tyrael and the Ufa, 3 members, Tyrael, Ufa, and the Chen, all engage onto Hysterica, the Sergeant Hammer, and immediately Well Met reacted and counter-engaged and did damage control, and Hysterica came out with pretty much full hit points, was able to unsiege and boost away instantly. where the Tyrael was polymorphed and taken out before he could even Judgment due to the fact he teleported in. Jen was forced to pop ult, so he no longer had any CC to use against the Sergeant Hammer, who just continued dealing the damage. And the Ufa, he did get his stun off, but he was picked off by the huge damage coming out of the Faustad. And while all that was happening, like you pointed out, Anubarak and Arthas Nomi were all up in Cripple Pete's face, just keeping him way out of that fight.
Yeah, and you were talking about how they could actually fight back against the Tyrael and how this composition actually enables Sergeant Hammer.
Oh.
However, here's the Judgment Trail to Haswaps. He's in a lot of trouble. He's trying to survive. Actually manages to barrel roll straight out of there with the shock and all coming in. Deals quite a bit of damage, but here's the ultimate coming out from Destin. He's locking up the entirety of the enemy team with his Divine Hurricane. Now on the Sake, he is going to get taken down by Rasmussen and the ship, and it's a 2-for-1 in favor of the team of Barely Online. Actually, Barely Online, Rasmussen, he's turning into a tree bear, so it's not really...
Oh, nope, gone.
Close enough.
Right Wing does teleport away, and once again, it is a team that loses a fight and gets a curse. Second time this game this has happened, but difference is, once again, there is a golem on the keep of Barely Online. They will clear this up, but that keep is now very low in health, and well met, they don't have too much to worry about now. They may have lost that fight, but they won the earlier fights, and they're still going to be able to clear up the map, gain map control, and take as many mercenaries as possible. They may, once they have their 2 members alive, attempt an invade onto this golem, but that will be a risky maneuver. That is where they are heading, though.
To be honest, I like the boss camp. It's going to force Barely Online to fight them outside of their base, and what we've been seeing...
Push.
Yeah, at least, 1, it lets the waves push, but 2, what we've seen before, especially yesterday, every single time a team decided to, got ahead and decided to fight in their enemy's base, lost the game. And is Matt going to make the same mistake, or are they so far ahead they can actually do such a thing?
Well, the Clairvoyance was used and then expired, so we will now see what whether they do decide to go back in. They have no idea where Well Met are, but Barely Online, they now have to know. They haven't seen Well Met for a while. They have to know something's going on, but they are far too late. Golem is taken by Well Met. Well Met venturing a bit too far forward there, almost running into Ramison. Ramison does back out, though. His team is not yet there with him, and Well Met are going to use this Golem. They're going to protect it, make sure it doesn't meet any initial resistance, and then they will likely move. They will push through it as much as they can, and then move up to their own bruiser camps.
Fortunately for them, they already had a Siege Golem who was already waiting on the turrets, but now the Grave Golem is there as well. Gate is definitely going to go down, most likely 2 of the turrets as well, as it's tanking up quite a bit of the damage. Beautiful knock-up there by Sake, keeping the entirety of Barely Online away from his team. Saka, he's looking for the engage, he's looking to jump in with his Judgment, but he can't really get into position, and now he has to be very careful because he's going to get turned into a buddy and immediately gets popped by the shock and all. Uther is going to try and use the Divine Storm in his Ghost form, but it isn't going to be quite enough. And Nubarak does go down, and now the fight continues with Raynor going down. Rasmussen barely able to pull out his ultimate, but he is going to fall as well, and the moment his ultimate times out, he will be at less than 10% hit points, so he will be forced to jump back to his Hall of the Storms, and that's going to allow Matt to just push in with the Grave Golem and maybe go for the core.
Well, the Grave Golem has been distracted by some towers there, so Met not going to go for the core. They do not have a minion wave, and their Grave Golem is now down, so they're going to make the most of this and wipe out this keep. They may, in fact, go for the 3rd keep. They are actually doing that. Hysterica is on his way there as well. They will take it down. No, and we can see Barely Online nowhere near respawning in time. However, Met did lose their 4 in the top lane, but right now, looking at the map as it is, it's looking very red right now.
Speaking about looking very red, I was also looking at what looks very blue, and those are the secondary heroic abilities for the team of Matt. They picked up Triple Resurgence, Storm Shield, and Shock Blast of Awe. And yeah, I like these pickups. However, we've seen pretty much every single time that these abilities led to a team losing because they lack the damage. If Barely Online can survive long enough to hit level 20, then maybe they can fight back with their high damage ultimates.
That was yesterday, where we did in fact see the team with the more resurgences did in fact lose a couple times, but Resurgence is still one of the better abilities in the game. There was a thread on Reddit that actually said it in a way that I think is the most accurate, where if Resurgence is pretty much always the correct choice, which it pretty much is on every hero who can take it other than like Uther and a couple others, if Resurgence is the best choice every time, then it should not be in the form it is.
I agree. I totally agree, and it should be more in a maybe target a friendly hero, like the revive heroes that we see in other games. Now Saka in a lot of trouble trying to get out of there, uses his Element's Might to jump straight out of there with his Angelic Flash, and Sheep getting locked up. Whoa, that was a lot of damage, but Sheep actually survived that one. Immediately the Divine Hurricane coming out, the Jetfoot coming out as well. Uther has already gone down there, focusing their attention on Saka, but Rasmussen in the background onto Hasselhoff, trying to take him down as well. Cripple Pete is taking even more damage than he can handle, will be falling. Hysterica in the meantime, the first time he's been taken out in such a fight, but now it's Sheep getting turned into a bunny. They're still trying to take down Nomi. Rasmussen actually getting popped into his normal form, but these resurgences, we were talking about it, they're going to come back once again. And
yes, their full team's alive. The only two without Resurgence were in fact able to survive. Faustad with a great dash over a wall to dodge out from Chen, and Brightwing ran to the bottom of the base and then teleported straight to that Faustad. So once again, the entire team of Well Met are alive, but that was a very, very solid defense by Barely Online.
Looking at the abilities that have been picked up for the opposing team, Tyrael and Chen going for Resurgence, Vala going for the Storm of Vengeance, Uther going for Divine Hurricane, and Reinhardt going for Bolt of the Storm for additional mobility. The only thing I would have probably seen, like to have seen different, would Saka be with his Judgment power up, just to nuke someone down in one go.
Not the Bolt of the Storm on Vala.
Bolt of the Storm on Vala is also something I would have liked to see, just to make sure that she can get out of the Blast of Awe. If that one is negated, then they can win a team fight, and they just showed it.
Well, the way I see it at the moment is these are probably the correct talent choices, with Resurgence of the Storm on Tyrael being very important due to the fact that all of his engage requires him to die, as we're probably about to see right here. There is the Shock and Awe, and there is the Rain of Vengeance out of Vala, just annihilating Saka. Stercia is going to die for it. Tyrael is now down, but he will be back after that explosion. No, he isn't. His Resurgence was down, apparently. But Nomi is going on to Destin, going to catch him out. He does heal himself, but Destin somehow got away. Nomi is now being forced to back up, but in comes Rasmussen. He takes him down. Cripple Pete was left completely alone, as he has been for most of the game, which is why this talent choice, his last talent choice, actually makes a lot of sense, due to the fact he's not being targeted at all. And once again, Barely Online with a great fight in this late game.
And they are barely alive.
They are barely alive. They are now having to kill this golem, which is wrecking their base. But they do have 4 members alive to Well Met's 2. They can, if only they weren't so pushed in their base, they could try and creep back some map control. But Well Met, despite losing this fight, are still ahead in XP. They're still doing well because all of the lanes are pushing super hard. There's 4 catapults in this middle lane right now, 3 in the bottom lane, which are all about to die. But Well Met actually appear to be sneaking to the top lane. They might be trying to steal this Bruiser camp. We can see Barely Online, they have started on their boss camp, which is also quite risky, but they're only doing it with a couple people at a time and leaving people behind to clear up as they do it. But Well Met gonna grab this easy camp and begin to head their way straight back into Barely Online's base.
Yeah, that means that Barely Online doesn't really have the time to either go for the tribute or go for the golem. Fortunately for them, losing a tribute now only means that they're going to be pushed harder. Well, it's not really fortunate, but at the very least, it doesn't stop their towers from attacking or their keeps from attacking, because they don't have any of them.
Yeah, Well Met disengaging here. They've already forced Barely Online to back up from what they were doing and just return to this area. And that does give Well Met a chance to rotate down, steal the tribute. They're also going to steal this Bruiser camp. And this is just going to keep the lanes of Barely Online pushing. They can't leave their base right now. They're in huge amounts of trouble. This golem is going to do okay, but considering the rest of their team is cursed, is going to have no minion backup here. So this will eventually die to towers. And this is going to allow Well Met to try and push in. There's the judgment, but the team's so far back.
Might be going down. There's the Rain of Vengeance coming out as well. The Shock and Awe only hits Destin and Rasmussen, but those are not the targets he wants to. Saka goes down, but he will have his Resurgence. Divine Hurricane coming out as well. They're onto Sake. Sake will be falling pretty soon. Double resurgence coming out from both Sergeant Hammer and the Nubarak, and they're going to try and chase down Hasselhoff. Hasselhoff has already left the base, and again a team fight win by Barely Online.
Barely Online, another fantastic winning of a fight there. Doing a great job clearing everything up, despite the fact that Saka basically engaged there way away from the rest of his team, left them in the dust, but that forced Well Met to turn around onto Saka, and Saka just kited them back to his team where they all completely counter-engaged, and they were able to take down everyone. And one thing I would like to maybe see out of Well Met here is maybe micro Sergeant Hammer a bit. If she's being beaten up, maybe move her back. This is something we have not been seeing.
Well, she is getting hammered there by Uther. I have to agree. Sorry, I couldn't resist. But now we'll just have to see whether Barely Online can actually resist this engage. Uther, when will his Divine Hurricane be up again? Will be up in... It's up already. Wow.
Yep, it's not actually that long of a cooldown. Divine Hurricane is in fact up. In fact, most of Barely Online's ultimates are up as opposed to Well Met, but we still have 18 seconds on Locust Swarm, 5 on Army of the Dead, and 2 on Shock and Awe, so Locust Swarm is going to be the only one that's not up for this particular fight. But Well Met choosing not to actually fight yet. They're going to hang around this watchtower for a bit and wait for their opportunity. And the ultimate of Anubrak is now up, so they are ready for another fight.
This time there's no resurgence coming out of either of them, so this might be the moment where the team of Barely Online can start fighting back. We saw what they did. They just popped the Golem, and the Golem, I actually took a quick look at the keep. It took it down to half health, so if they can get themselves another Golem, then maybe they can actually win this match against Well Met.
This
but
might
Well Met is
be the case. Well Met, Barely Online, though, beginning to make their way across. We do, Well Met do have vision of this, so they're going to back up, play it a bit safe. I'm just checking Sergeant Hammer quickly. Her resurgence is about 3/4 of the way off cooldown. Only a quarter of it to go. So this is why they're choosing to back up from this and wait for the engage, because they don't want to lose these heroes when they don't have their resurgences up. They'd much rather Barely Online were to try and start the Golem maybe, and then they can see it for themselves. But instead, Barely Online have been forced to back to their base to defend, and this is going to allow Well Met to once again start the Golem and take it.
Yeah, but whether it's going to be enough remains to be seen. Okay, the last Golem, it did take half the core down.
Here they come.
But yeah, Barely Online, they really don't want to wait. This is going to be in the nick of time or just a little bit too late. And
it's going to be a little bit too late, but they're still going to fight. It's too late now. You can't stop the rock. And Barely Online are here. There is the Rain of Vengeance, but it doesn't actually land on anyone. In comes a Nubarak doing huge amounts of damage. Rain of Vengeance now is hitting Soke. Tyrael has already been blown. Destin is going to pop, and Hasiwobs is in the back dealing all his damage. Hysterica does get engaged upon him, tried to micro out the way, but he was not able to back up this time, was blocked by his teammates. Nomi is being dropped low. He's being out-microed by Sheep and Cripple Pete, and they are now going to join in the chase. It is Soke and Hiruke are still alive. Resurgences were up just in time on Sergeant Hammer and Arthur's. They're going to rejoin this fight. Cripple Pete gets engaged upon Arcane Barrage, and a Nubrak Auto will take him down. Ratmason is the only one left outside of the base. He has to be, and the entire team has to defend against this Golem now, which is going to give Well Met the chance to regroup and push into this base, try and force the final fight 4 versus 3, and use what's left of this Golem to take down the base, and here they come.
Yeah, Brightwing has just gotten herself right into the position to
just go for it.
The
it's the
dive.
It's
going to go down to 10%, 5%. It's game over, and it's Well Met who's able to take game number 1 in this best of 3. And oh my word, are we going to see a full 3-game match? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you might have already noticed, we're channeling into the Dragonshire. Tetcher takes through the map.
Alright, so for those of you who haven't seen the map before, the Dragonshire is made up of, it is a 3-lane map, like most of the most of the maps in Heroes of the Storm are. In top and bottom lane, there is a shrine. In the top lane, it is the Sun Shrine. In the bottom lane, it is the Moon Shrine. Teams that capture these shrines, if they hold both of them at the same time, they will be able to become, after a short channel, the Dragon Knight, which is a huge health boost and a huge damage boost, including gaining some all new abilities.
Alright, so on the blue team, it is once again barely online. Now 1 game down. Saka in the top lane on Falstad. We're looking at Sheep on Illidan. Destin playing on Uther. Rasmussen playing on the Nubarak. And finally, Cripple Pete is playing on Tychus.
And spawning on the right-hand side in the red trunks, it is well met. And starting in the top lane, we have Hiruke on the Bright Wing. We have Nomi on the Stitches. We have Soke on the Arthurs. Hysterica is on the Nova. And finally we have Hasuobs on the Valor. And we have some hedge whacking. And Hasuobs does get the first hit off, but does take a bit of counter damage. Hook already landing onto Anubrak. He does get rooted. And this time, Anubrak's so close. The multi-shot almost landing. And we almost saw Anubrak become the first blood again. Almost an exact repeat of last game. But barely online. Actually able to escape. Are you alive?
The ancient shrines awaken.
Why is it not working? There we go.
I can hear you again now.
Yeah, apparently something was wrong with my connection.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, not the connection, but the connection from my microphone to my mic.
You need a new headset, man.
It's slowly dying, just like Anubrak.
This is true. Anubrak, though, is still fine. He's able to back up and stay quite safe and give a bit of a knock-up onto Soke. We did also see Nomi land a bit of damage onto Sheep, who's having to clear his wave. In fact, Stitches is actually very good at clearing waves. Does not land the hook, though, due to Sheep vaulting over a minion. Whereas in the top lane, as usual, we're seeing Falstad dominate pretty much every lane he's in, but Haruke is not going to have too much trouble. He will heal the minions pretty well, and himself, who is going to have quite a bit of sustain.
Yeah, true enough, but Falstad is eventually going to be running out of mana, running out of abilities, and that's the point where Hiruke will be able to actually fight back. And this is a nice thing that Hiruke is doing, just dropping a little bit of damage over the wall. And now Stitch is actually going to be fighting over the mid lane shrine. If Hiruke actually gets on the shrine, that might be enough time for Stitch to actually get the channel down. But Saka and Hiruke, one more hit.
Sheep can deny. Sheep is just going to keep denying it. And Hiruke does die. Almost got Saka. But now Saka's going to be able to take the shrine. Nomi is already backed up. Bot lane has been fighting this entire time as well, but no one's gone down. That might change. Nope, root does not land. Still not going to see any kills in this bot lane. But first blood does go over to barely online Saka in a very intense mid lane fight.
It was actually a top lane fight.
Top lane fight, yes, sorry.
It looked like a mid lane fight because we had a Falstad in there, but yeah, it was so close. Hiruke could have won that one, but
yeah, one extra auto attack would have made the difference. There is a nice route there in bot lane though by Soke, but Cripple Pete was able to dash backwards. However, the knockback from Cripple Pete is able to save Soke from the very unpleasant fate. But once again, trades without kills coming in this bot lane. No one wants to die here.
No one is going to be dying here. Actually, in top lane, a fight breaking out between Hiruke and Saka. Hiruke immediately falling backwards, not wanting a repeat from last time. Gets the block, gets the spell shield. It's now going to have to fall back just a little bit more back into his own lane.
Yeah, and in the mid lane, Nomi continuing to just slowly harass Sheep down with his slam. Doing a good job, and now he's going to roam down to the bot lane. His wave is pushed up. There's no minions in the way. He gets the hook onto Destin, but Destin is now fine. But that means that that Tychus had no protection. Very nice job there. Tychus had no heals and was taken down. Very nice job by Nomi there, removing any chance Tychus had of surviving.
Very well played, and I guess this is also the advantage you have with putting a Stitches in the mid lane. He can easily roam to both the top and the bottom lane. In this case, roaming to the bottom lane, a very smart move. What I do suspect now is that, well, Matt will not be able to capitalize on this just yet. They're going to have to just sit back and, well, at least not have Soke die.
Ooh.
Soke has to be careful. He has
Gets the root, but he's being body blocked, and he is
dead.
down. Hasuob's trying to land some counter damage. He does have some easy camps there to help clear the wave. Mid lane, Nova said hi, but was not able to grab anything. Shrines now both in favor of barely online, but there is no way that Illidan's going to be able to take this from Nova. So he's just going to clear up this wave at first. Whereas the rest of Well Met are going to try and take some shrines back, and it's going to be Brightwing that does grab the shrine in the top lane.
Yeah, and as this is just continuing, we have a little bit of time to look at the talents. We're looking at Uther with Conjurer's Pursuit, Protective Shield, and Cleanse actually bot lane. A little bit of a fight breaking out. Haaswap's in a lot of trouble. Tries to get out there. Will get out there. Top lane as well. Actually, Root onto Saka. Saka in a lot of trouble. Gets turned to the bunny.
He has no dash, but he gets behind his wall. We could not see a last-second death coil out of Saka. Very nice escape there by Saka.
Right, so to continue on with the talents, Shadow Shield, Immolation, and First Aid for Illidan. Anubarak picking up the extended spikes. Underking. There we go. Urticating spines, is that correct?
I don't know. That is not an English word that I am familiar with.
Okay, armor-piercing rounds, spray and pray for Tychus with First Aid, of course. Bribe, Gathering Power, and an interesting one, Battle Momentum. Oh, the hook on the sheep!
Sheep has been hooked. He's trying to get out. He uses his leap over Sokka and pops his first aid, gets healed by Ufa. He is actually going to be able to escape. That was very nice there, delaying until Ufa arrived rather than just trying to dive for his base. So he is going to be able to survive. Nomi! Oh, last second hook does not land, and I don't think it was in range if it had.
Yeah, top lane fight between Hirake and Saka goes on. Level 10 now being hit by both teams. And in the bottom lane, Nomi has rotated down. Now Rasmussen trying to get after the hook from Nomi. Beautifully done there. But the Locust Swarm is going to keep him alive. Saki now going to use his armor to death. Beautiful Rain of Vengeance going to stop down Cripple Pete. That Rain of Vengeance is just enough for Hasselhoffs.
However, Hasselhoffs is being bullied by Destin in the back here. Sheep is also on Soke. Soke is healed up fully with his armor in the dead. Cripple Pete has just popped his Odin, so he's going to be here for a while. Destin's being chased. Saka able to dash through. Here comes Estercia. He does take down Ufa. Now Saka trying to get the chase, but not going to have any of it. Blink heal coming from the Brightwing to heal up Nova, who's about to head back in. Look for an opportunity. There's a precision strike, and that brings Saka in range for the kill. And they do take down Saka. Sheep does survive and is able to escape. But super good job by Well Met here. They now have a huge XP lead, and they're going to be able to get this top shrine, assuming they can beat Illidan out of it.
It should be possible. Nomi, did he actually use his Gorge yet?
Nope, don't think so.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
he used it, but we didn't see on which one it was. But Nomi has already forced Sheep away, and that's going to allow either Hysterica or Hirake to pick up the Dragon Knight. And it looks like it's going to be Hysterica. 3, 2, 1. Here's the Dragon Knight.
Yeah, barely online. Trying to chase onto Soke, but Soke is too tanky. He is going to be able to back up with and heal himself back up to full very quickly. And we're going to see Well Met just soak their lanes here. They're going to clear them. There was a bit of damage done by Barely Online. Hysterica not going to just dive with this Dragon Knight. He's waiting for his team. Wait for them to finish what they're doing. Wait for them to arrive. He still has 38 seconds on this. He can still push in and do quite a bit of damage. And he wasn't going to get much more than, say, 2 towers and the gate. So there's no point rushing it in this scenario. His team is now here, and Barely Online have already moved out. So he has pretty much free reign to get this damage.
Yeah, also going to be taking down the gate, most likely going to be taking down the fountain as well, unless he decides to focus fully on the fort. Who comes out, doesn't quite land with the Cripple Pete. Destin moving in, lands the hammer on Hysterica, but now Hysterica turning his attention to the fort. Most likely going to be able to get it.
Damage. He has 5 seconds, and he's actually doing a lot of damage here with the help of his team. He might actually take this down. 2, 1, lands one more hit, is not able to kill it. He's going to have to back out, and now in comes Illidan. There's a precision strike, though. Sheep was in mid-metamorphosis, so he does not take any damage from this. He is pushing forward. He did get polymorphed, and he has to back up thanks to that polymorph. And once again, somehow no one from Well Met dies. Hook onto Cripple Pete, but he is in Odin form. He will not be going down. And we're seeing a lot of very, very low members here from Well Met. Dropping quite low. Hasselhoff's able to dash away from the overdrive coming out of Tychus. Tychus gets sniped by Hysterica. And Nomi goes in for the final hit on the fort. And Well Met, all of them dropped super low, but able to survive and steal the enemy easy camp.
And that one's going to be pushing into the bottom lane as the remainder of Valmet is heading into that lane as well. Level 14 means new talents being picked up for the team of Valmet. Relentless on Arthas, Stitch is going for the Mega Smash. We're looking at Rewind for Brightwing, Cloak, Advanced Cloaking for Nova, and finally the Frost Shot for Vala. So Vala going for that full ability build. It's the double ability build from both of these assassins.
Yep, this is in fact the case on both teams. Overdrive being focused on by Tychus. We're seeing Falsad obviously focusing on his Hammerang. We hit Falsad in fact gathering the Gathering Power with it. Whereas on the side of Well Met, we have the Gathering Power on Nova, who obviously focuses on all of her abilities. And Vala, like you said, focusing on that multi-shot style. Very ability-based assassins lately. Auto-attack assassins seem to be a little bit out of fashion. They're so
it's mostly because they can't
season.
really put down all that much damage if they do get hits. Like, the ability-based casters can stay in the rather, the ability-based assassins can stay in the back. They can be protected by their front line. The issue with auto-attackers is that they have to go all into the front line, and as a result, are way more vulnerable. And unless you have something like, say, the Odin coming out of Tychus to keep yourself a little bit alive for a little bit longer, well, then it's... Well, Tychus is pretty much the only one who I would say is an auto-attack-based assassin right now.
Well, you can build Val like an auto-attack-based assassin. I'd say the only one that's actually viable as an auto-attack-based assassin is Raynor.
Yes, that's what I mean. Raynor. Yeah and no.
Yeah and no. What does he use? He uses his Banshees, but he has to do something until then.
Usually he's used for the Inspire and his puncturing shot.
He does a lot of damage in auto. You don't see him built around those. You see him built around his auto attacks.
Yeah, true enough.
Yeah.
But now, though, it looks like Barely Online is going to be putting down a lot of pressure onto the fort in this bottom lane, and that's going to proc Well Met in taking down the top fort. So it's going to be a fort for a fort, but Well Met is more than happy to do this.
Yeah, Well Met gonna charge this down. In fact, we're actually going to see them B. I don't know. They need to protect their keep. Because we're seeing Barely Online going very aggressive here. They're actually going to get the gates and the towers here. They won't push further than this, surely. Nope, they are in fact going to back up. And that is the question. Well met. That B means they're not going to get that fort. That hopefully those minions and mercenaries will take it for them. But they've basically had their time wasted by Barely Online, who actually got a very efficient trade there.
Yeah, true enough. But at the very least, Well Met is going to be securing the bottom shrine as well. And that at the very least make sure that there is not going to be a Dragonite on the side of Barely Online. Also, they're going to be pushing into this bottom last tower here, taking it out. Just going to get themselves a siege camp as well. So maybe they're going to be moving towards the keep of the enemy.
That fort in top lane, it's so low. But it is going to survive. Great defense by Barely Online. But pretty much anything in that area will just kill it right now. What did we see yesterday? We saw a shock and awe. We saw Falstad fly into the enemy base, shock and awe a keep to kill it, and then be in the enemy base. That was style.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yep.
But for now, it looks like Well Met. They get themselves 2 towers and a gate. So, the hook was so close.
He's actually in a good hook trap spot. If Arthas gets to the other side, he could actually trap someone in there. But someone pointing out Illidan is a auto-attack based as well. Yes, but he's picked in a warrior position. He does do huge amounts of damage, but he's picked as in a warrior where instead of a warrior, due to the fact that he does have that evasion ability and first aid. And there's the hook, lands onto Destin.
Trouble. He actually gets Gorge now, and immediately Rasmussen jumping in, trying to at least... Oh, this was actually very smart by Nomi. He was moving Destin out of the... out of his team to not allow the Divine Storm to hit anyone else but Hysterica. Hysterica does go down, doesn't quite get all of her damage off. Sake trying to survive as best as he can. Illidan over the wall with the transformation. That's the end of Vala.
No,
and oh my word, where did Brightwing go?
Brightwing managed to run away, like way into the back lines of Barely Online and be from there. Whereas Nomi was able to back out. But this is going to mean that Barely Online get their first Dragonite. They're going to be able to trade some damage off now. And they're in a pretty good position. That was a very nice fight for them, thanks to a very solid Divine Storm. And, well, solid ultimates all around. Divine Storm, Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis could have hit a couple more people, but Divine Storm, Metamorphosis, and the Shock and All were all pretty spot on.
Yeah, the only thing I did like, again, I would like to stress that Nomi walked out of his team with Destin in his gorge. That's the most important part about that entire fight, because Stitches actually had to force himself to the away from his own team. He couldn't really peel for Nova, and once the gorge was over, Destin just ran straight up to Nova, managed to only get the Divine Storm off onto Hysterica, but that was more than enough. I believe the Precision Strike was not used.
Precision Strike was used, it just didn't actually kill anyone.
Ah, well.
Or do that much damage. Well, it did a lot of damage, in fact. That was the most amount of damage they ended up doing to Barely Online in that fight. But like you said, very important that Stitches walked away from his team with Oof. We saw it yesterday, where Stitches can basically hand-deliver a Divine Storm into the enemy base and basically kill your own team that way. So it's a very risky maneuver. And now we're going to see the Dragonite using a bit of that health. It's about to expire, but just using a bit of that health to soak some tower ammo, but stayed near the exit so that they could back out as they needed to, which they are now doing.
Biggest thing here is, of course, that the Odin has been popped. So for the next fight, it will not be available. And that might be the
up,
one.
Isn't it?
His Odin is going to be down.
Oh yeah, it just expired. There we go. Yeah,
exactly.
It doesn't go on cooldown until after it expires, or at least it doesn't show it on the.
So 70 seconds. That's the timing that the team of Wellmet has to win. Fight at the very least.
This is
70
true.
seconds.
Although Tychus does still have his first aid and his stone skin up, so he does have that when it comes to defense. Soke gonna get caught out here, gets knocked up and engaged upon. Shock and Awe doesn't actually land that well, hits Hysterica. Sheep, though, is right up in there onto Hasselwobs. Hasselwobs is not getting the defense he needs. He's gonna escape somehow, managing to dash to the back there. Soke is taken out, though. Hysterica trying to deal the damage. There's the hook onto Cripple Pete, but can they pick him off? No, they can't. Cripple Pete able to back out there. Sheep also moving back. Soccer survives as well. And once again, another trade in favour of Barely Online, taking down 1 for 0.
Yeah, and again, it was the Gorge onto Destin. It's not the one they want. They need to get a Gorge onto one of the damage dealers, like Sheep, or like onto Cripple Pete. But for some reason, it's always Destin who really wants to come into... wow.
Well, to be fair, Ufa does actually want to be in the enemy team, so Ufa does really want to be inside the enemy team.
I know, Thatcher, I know.
Yeah. He's going to use his Hammer of Wrath.
Yeah, I just broke. In any case, siege camps and bruiser camps being taken by both teams. They're going to be clashing with each other, and we're going to be waiting for the next shrines to appear. Both teams at level 19, so no secondary heroic abilities yet. Let's see what Brightwing has. Blink Heal, if I'm not mistaken, so she will be picking up Bolt of the Storm.
Does she need Bolt of the Storm? No, I'd say Storm Shield.
Yeah, that one.
Yep, so we're currently seeing Well Met gonna start pushing down this bot lane, trying to get the keep down so they can get the XP advantage, but no, using their presence there to draw as many members of Barely Online down there as possible. So now they're gonna rotate to the top lane, clear up the... excuse me, my hiccups. Clear up the bruisers and steal that top shrine back. So we're once again in the stage of the game where the teams are going to trade shrine for shrine and just bait each other into positions where neither team's actually going to do anything.
Yeah, it's just a matter.
Soke finally taking down that fort.
Yes, great success.
Great success, finally getting it. And that does mean, just because he did that, we're going to hit 21st once after killing these minions. That last minion did do it, in fact. So they get the level 20s. Now they're going to be, and they're going to fight Barely Online in their base with level 20. Barely Online have realised this, and they're beginning to back out. But Well Met have begun the chase.
Yeah, and they should be able to actually catch on to Rasmussen. There's the hook.
They get it!
The hook is
Cripple
They
Pete,
finally
where's the
get him.
Gorge?
Now he's going to take quite a bit of damage. The precision strike coming out as well. The shotgun only hitting Hurricane Soke. Immediately transformation straight into Hasselhoff. Hasselhoff trying to get out of it, but the Divine Storm misses completely due to the Bolt of the Storm. A new wreck goes down, and it's the level 20 advantage that's so good for the team of Wellmet. They're onto Sheep. Sheep's dangerously low. Forced to dash straight out of there. Now they're trying to take down Destin. He's getting slowed by Soke. Will they be able to catch on to Destin? Yes, they will definitely be able to catch on to Destin. Now they're onto Cripple Pete, and if they are going to be breaking him out of his Odin, yeah, they are. That's the end of him as well. They're sending in Illidan to the top lane, but is it going to be Stitches who is going to be on time to take the Dragon Knight Shrine? I would say yes.
Stitches is channeling. Illidan is not even going to bother. He realises it's far too late. He's just going to use this time to be back to base so that he can help defend. And like you pointed out, the level 20 advantage is 100% what won Well Met that fight. They have double resurgence. The precision strike, double precision strike was actually taken, but the Bolt of the Storm was huge by Valor, and that was so much extra damage that they didn't have before. It was actually a very good fight by them as well. Level 20 talents, though, are now available for Barely Online, so they do have a chance once all their members are back up, but that's still in 15 seconds for Tychus.
15 seconds for Tychus, and Nomi is already on one of their keeps, so this keep is in a lot of trouble. Well, I would say...
Bolt.
Who? Tychus
took Bolt of the Storm.
It's needed. He needs to get immediately away from Stitches if Stitches lands a hook.
This is true. This is a very viable choice, but he is now up Both teams are up. All ultimates are available except for Locust Swarm and Commander Odin. But Commander Odin is about to come up. Locust Swarm will be up in 3. So we're about to see another fight. In comes the Dragon Knight. And Ubrak immediately punted out. And Ufa gets wiped out straight away. Once again, gets a Divine Hurricane off onto 3 members though. But Hasselhoffs is currently just harassing Ramazan. Ramazan goes in though. Hurricane with the blink heal. Hasselhoffs immediately just blinking away there to keep himself alive. And we're seeing the retreat poke coming out of Well Met here, and there we go. They're going on to Rasmussen. Deep tunneling. Might escape. Precision strike. He survives.
So close. But with all this said and done, Well Met have been able to take down 2 keeps with a single Dragon Knight, and are now pushing in onto this top keep as well. Soke is tanking it up together with Hasselhoffs. Hasselhoffs is going to be focusing
back
on
up
this
a
top
bit.
lane.
Just reset the aggro onto Soke. There we go. So
yeah,
he
exactly.
resets the aggro. They're going to finish. They're going to finish killing this off. They'll likely get both towers. So much harass coming out of Hasselhoffs here. That multi-shot build is very powerful. Nobi missing all of the hooks, but does take a lot of damage there thanks to the overdrive and the knock-up. And barely online. In a really tough position right now. 2 keeps down. The lanes are going to start pushing. And that's going to make it very difficult for them to start grabbing their shrines. While Well Met stealing their bruiser camps to just make it even more difficult and start that top lane pushing so that they can maybe get that keep at a later date.
Well, it's kind of like a fort. Just invest into it and then crush it. You'll get your experience with a very nice interest bonus. For now, though, ultimates are going to be up pretty soon. Commander Odin, the last one to get up here, but once the next team fight breaks out, both teams will have everything at their disposal. Well, Banning Line has already cleared out the bruiser camps that Well Met sent their way, but Well Met slowly but surely rotating down to the bottom side to take yet another bruiser camp.
Yeah, Well Met just clearing everything at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised to actually see them wander over here to take the easy camp, but it looks like that might be what they're doing, moving in here. This is going to be a bit more risky. That hook, you're not long enough range without fishing hook there, Stitches. That is way too ambitious, but worth the try anyway. Brightwing actually being chased down here by Barely Online. They are really after her. She's going to need to tunnel out of there after the knock-up has been used from Ramazan. Oh, there's the polymorph and teleport. Knock up.
Gore's in
oh,
Look
just
at
in
the
time. It is the dive. Well met, just going for the dive while Brightwing distracted. Brightwing just teleported to join him with the dive. Saka has been polymorphed, and this is a bit ambitious from Well Met. This could be a mistake. Sheep is going on to Hasselhoffs. Hasselhoffs has blinked back, but we've already seen Nova drop, and now Soke is trapped out of position here. Nobi has escaped. Soke will go down, and that could be a horrible mistake there by Well Met. They're going to grab both shrines here, but Brightwing's going to be nowhere near fast enough to grab this. She might be, actually, if Barely Online don't react. They need to start moving. They're heading towards the mid lane. Brightwing can channel. She's going to do it.
Yep. She's way too late, and Hurricane, start channeling it. No, they're letting Soke channel it. This might be...
Do it! Oh, just in time!
Yes, they got him now. Soke is going to be moving in straight on top of the core, and also Illidan going down in the top lane, as Nomi and Hasselhoffs are just a little bit too strong right there. They already have a bruiser camp moving in onto the top keep. I would say... the Dragon Knight. Oh, the hook! The hook on the Soke.
No. Hook polymorph, he's dead.
Yeah, he's down. Now Soke going to continue the fight here together with his team, as Nova is still off cooldown. Off cooldown.
Nova
still
was going to respawn. She's going to have
going
double
to the core. The core
strike.
has no chance against the Dragon Knight. Soke still going in.
Precision strike number 1. Precision strike number 2. Over. She's actually taking the upgrade. And there's precision strike number 2. And that will be GG. And it is Well Met that wins over Barely Online 2-0.
Wow, what a match. What a match. To be honest, I was under the impression that Barely Online was going to be taking this one home, but it was Well Met who wins 2-0 and advances to the semifinals.
If they'd reacted to the Dragon Knight, if they'd gone mid to contest, they might have had a chance.
They should have, because they had a 5 versus 4 situation. But they had to also fall back, because else their core would have been taken down by the mercenaries. There were a bruiser camp plus.
You only need one person for that. It was 4. It was 5 versus I think it was 5 versus 3. So they could have sent 4 people and still had a number advantage, leaving one person to defend.
Anyhow, we're heading into the next set of matches, which are going to be El Nexo against Team Paper. Let me actually update the times, because we have been running a little bit late due to the technological difficulties, but just a little bit. Right, so we're going to put up some music, Thatcher. I'll be back in just a few, and you will be back in just a few as well, I imagine.
This is the case.